Time and time again, I hear from the community on how many people struggle with playing defense in this game. At release, it definitely was a struggle with how poor pursuit angles were, and to top it off, that spin move on offense was stupidly overpowered. I personally committed myself to making defense fun, and in this video, I'm going to do the same for you. So let's get into it. So when it comes to defense as the play caller, you have to ask yourself, what is it that I want to accomplish defensively? Do you want to scheme against the run and force a team to pass, or do you want the exact opposite? Offenses are hard to stop nowadays, but there are things you can do in order to slow them down and neutralize what they do best. Let's talk about schemes. Personally, I've always liked operating out of a 4-3 base because it offers great versatility when it comes to defensive fronts, but it also has the versatility in effectively defending the run or pass. As you see on the screen, notice the different alignment offerings. Naturally, it positions your defenders to crowd the line of scrimmage. The most important aspect of the 4-3 is the perfect balance it provides. 2 defensive tackles, 2 edge players, 3 linebackers, and 4 DBs. The next scheme we'll get into is the base 3-4, and as you may know, that consists of 3 down linemen and 4 linebackers, 2 middle backers, and 2 outside guys. Now in modern football, those outside guys function as pass rushing edges. Think of players like James Harrison and Terrell Suggs from years past. Now with the 3-4, you're getting more athleticism on the field by removing that defensive tackle and adding in a linebacker. This will help you with both effectively defending the run and the pass. Another perk of the 3-4 is its versatility in disguising pressure. Any combination of the front 7 could be standing or down in a stance at pre-snap. Post-snap, the same combination could be dropping into coverage or rushing the QB. The key component to an effective 3-4 is having a nose tackle that can eat up blocks. Since you only have 3 down linemen in certain alignments, naturally you won't have as strong of gap control like you would in the 4-3, but it's still a formidable front. You want your linebackers to be extremely skilled in pass coverage and rushing the passer. Next up is the 4-2-5. This consists of 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers, and 5 defensive backs. Modern day offenses put heavy emphasis on passing and especially down the field. Things are no different when it comes to football and video games. Users tend to lean into making that splash play by throwing bombs all game long. The 4-2-5, or better known as the base nickel defense, helps with slowing down the passing attack. You're sacrificing strength at the point of attack to bolster your back-end coverage by implementing a 5th DB. The 4-2-5 gives you the opportunity for an improved pass coverage. It also enables you to have more favorable matchups in the pass game. You can also bring some exotic blitzes because you can use your secondary to send pressure. Essentially, you want defensive backs that can cover in both man or zone. They will also be responsible for helping out in run support due to having a lighter defensive front. For those of you who load up a game and say, I want to shut down the passing attack, this is the scheme you're looking for. So now that we've gone over schemes, let's go in depth with speaking about a scheme within a scheme. Many defenses live by the bend but don't break ideology. What that means is keeping everything in front of you in the pass game by not allowing your defense to get beat deep. This is achieved by staying over top the routes and having your deepest defender or defenders remain in that position throughout the entirety of the play. In the run game, your defense is more than likely sitting in zone with eyes on the backfield and can easily rally up and make tackles. Cover 2, cover 3, cover 4, and cover 6 all help achieve this goal. Depending on down and distance, where you are on the field, and a team's tendency will determine which coverage to deploy. There are also defenses that tend to be more aggressive and dictate their terms through the offense. This is achieved through disguising pressure, bringing pressure outside of the conventional 3 or 4 down linemen, and playing press coverage on the outside. If a defense schemes that way, they tend to be more boom or bust due to the fact that there is a high risk involved in getting beat in the passing game with having extra defenders rushing the QB. On the flip side, there is a high reward because you have a higher chance at forcing a mistake. A great way to blend both of those concepts is to use zone blitzes. You can cause pressure while also maintaining integrity on the back end by zoning up. It can also cause confusion because the offense can't get a lead on where the pressure is coming from or where the coverage is going to be. Also, not tipping your hand and immediately showing you're bringing pressure helps with the element of surprise. It's best to provide different looks to keep the offense on their heels, providing you the opportunity to dominate.
And there he is, the nation's leader.
So getting back into the 4-3, you see I have the 6-1 even selected on my screen. And basically what that means is I have 6 players aligned at the line of scrimmage. The 4 down linemen plus the 2 outside backers make up the 6. On downs where typically you would expect a run, this alignment is an animal at stopping the run. And here's why. You would have great gap control due to the number of defenders we have at the point of attack to closely match what the offense has. In order to stop the run, you have to cover up the offensive line so that guys can't climb to the next level. This enables your run support players to freely make tackles in a run game. I have a second controller to operate the offense, so pay no mind to how long the QB is holding the ball or the throw. Do pay attention to how my D-line reacts at the snap. If it were a run play, it was going to go for a minimum gain due to my defense having a presence in each gap. Here's a couple of examples with how the alignment scales against the formations out of shotgun. Typically, I'm in cover 4 when calling this play, and I'll go over that later in the video. I definitely wouldn't call this formation against a spread type play, but I wanted to show that it's capable of defending the pass. Also, those of you who are looking for something to defend outside zone or a play similar, this is it. This isn't a meta type of thing, but more so a concept. Again, having players to eat up blocks and control gaps at the snap will cause the ball carrier to run east and west. Here's an example of how having defenders within a yard of the line of scrimmage keeps the offensive blockers from firing off and getting to the next level as quick as they would like. If you recall in the Super Bowl between the Rams and the Pats a few years back, Bill Belichick implemented the same scheme to neutralize Sean McVay's zone blocking attack, having a body to cover all the linemen and basically forcing the issue. Alright, so let's get into some game situations. One of the biggest concepts to know when playing defense is down and distance. It's important because you can build an idea on what type of play call to expect. More times than not, a team is going to call a run or some type of quick throw on 1st and 10. As you see here, the CPU came out in empty. I know off the bat it's not going to be a run unless they motion someone across the formation. The bunch grouping to the left caught my attention immediately. I was thinking they were going to run some sort of screen, but I knew for a fact it was going to be a quick pass. The lack of protection means he needs to get the ball out quick. I tell my defenders to look out for pass while also adjusting the coverage to play underneath. The result is a pick 6 on the first offensive play of the game.
Fires and picked off. Touchdown UCLA. What a great play by the defense and paying it off.
I'll run it back in slow motion so you can see how the coverage adjusts based upon the routes that are being ran and their zone assignments. When you shade coverage, it's not just the DBs being affected. Your backers underneath will also follow suit. Paying attention to personnel groupings by the offense helps tremendously. You also need to pay attention to the formation. Here you see that Stanford is coming out in a single back tight formation with 3 tight ends, so you already know that you can expect a more condensed alignment. Sometimes people will read 3 receivers and automatically think, okay, I need to come out in nickel. The formation matters because you'll match personnel differently with 3 receivers out of I formation compared to 3 receivers out of shotgun. Here you'll notice I bring the defense in tighter. First, like explained, the formation is almost certainly a run, and second, the down and distance gives me an inkling that this is a run play. We have now created the perfect storm by having numbers committed either in or near the box to now effectively stop the run. In obvious passing downs and situations, I personally like to play coverage. I'll opt for the QB to beat me with a well-placed throw into a tight window rather than sending extra pressure to potentially get beat for a big gain. If you can apply pressure with rushing 3 or 4, half the battle is already won. This is personnel dependent, so if you know you have a guy in the trenches that can turn him loose. Look for indicators that can help you decipher pass. I'm not trying to sound like a broken record, but down and distance helps. Backfield personnel, time on the clock, what quarter you're in, the score. These are all determining factors. If you could figure some of these things out, you can guess pass, and now your defense will be expecting solely a pass. This impacts how your defense reacts at the snap of the ball. Third, in any amount of distance, I tend to play cover 4 with a somewhat soft coverage on the outside. Cover 4 enables your safeties to naturally assist better in run support if it happens to be a run play. You also get the benefit of having most intermediate and deep passing windows sold up to keep your defense in the best possible position to get a stop. Now, when it comes to red zone defense, you have to look at it from this perspective. Break the area into 3 different sections, with the first being the 20-yard line to the 10-yard line. Next is the 10 to the 2-yard line, and lastly the 2-yard line to the end zone. As a defense, you have a slight advantage based upon the condensed field you're defending. You can be a bit more aggressive knowing that the vertical routes aren't too much a threat. The receivers have limited routes they can run as a whole, and the playbook of the offense reduces. I'm going to speak on plan D at the 5-yard line and closer. Defending the run is more of the same as mentioned earlier in the video. Crowding the line of scrimmage is your friend in this situation. The goal is to create a wall to not allow the offense to run it in. When it comes to defending the pass, I like to run man coverage and shade my guys inside. Specifically speaking to the CPU's tendencies, they more often than not throw slants, drags, and ends when inside the 5. They'll occasionally mix in an isolated corner route, but the former is what they tend to run. Establishing gap control or covering as many gaps as you can enable you as a secondary user defender to flow cleanly to the ball and make a play. I spoke in depth in my other video on defense about the importance of usering under control. Be sure to check that out if you haven't already. Basically, when it comes to these goal line situations, you can't be all over the place. Deciphering a play immediately and either getting downhill or dropping into your respective coverage is a must due to how fast the action happens. Defense by nature is reactionary, so at all times you have to anticipate what's going to take place. Understanding first and foremost what is the responsibility of the defender you're using is key. As a safety, are you playing deep half, deep third, quarters, underneath, or man coverage? Understanding your assignment means you'll know what you're looking for when it comes to a receiving tree. Take this play for example. You see I lock on to the free safety in a 3rd and long situation. You can see my assignment is to cover the short middle of the field. So I know that I should be looking for the intermediate crossing routes, digs, sit routes, and slants. Having that anticipation is half the battle in getting a stop for your defense. Note that I respect the play action in this scenario, but given the down and distance, I stay home knowing that they have a higher probability of getting a first down through passing. Trusting your instincts is important, but also having that knowledge of what to look for goes a long way. What you're seeing on the screen right now is just some defensive plays where I stayed within my assignment, but also had some instinctual insight on what could possibly be the outcome with a motion here or based upon formational alignment. And then in this last one, basically turning the play back inside even though I wasn't there to make the tackle. Here's a perfect example of operating with instincts in order to get a pick. Pre-snap, I'm locked in with my free safety who's assigned there based off my alignment. I'm responsible for the seam and the flat. Off the bat, I can almost rule out a seam route on my side due to the slot receiver being outside the seam. So my mind is focused on playing the flat. I'm sending pressure on the strong side, so I know he'll be looking to throw hot. I respect the fact that he can possibly go vertical by keeping distance, but as soon as I see him break towards the sideline, I go full throttle and undercutting the route. Also, something that I want to stress is the importance of using that L2 to strafe and change direction on defense. I know we use it a lot on offense, but it definitely can help your game on defense as well. All in all, defense is about finding the right scheme that fits with your personnel. Within that scheme, you have to decide what do you want to take away from your opponent offensively. Again, for myself, if I could totally limit or even shut down my opponent's run game, I know I can load up with defending the pass because I would be expecting them to do so. Finding a mini scheme to orientate in simplified terms, understanding down and distance, and also learning tendencies will be key in your success as well. When it comes to usering, staying within the confines of your assignment and trusting the other parts of your defense to do their job, along with anticipating, will help you to start dominate moving forward. If you found value in this video, please drop a like, subscribe if you definitely want to see more content like this. Get after it in the comment section so we can further discuss. Until next time, my good peoples, we out of here. Peace.
game, he's got to do a much better job with his decision-making.
Let's see what the Lobos offense.